crotch chopping. They caught me crotch chopping. What is up, World Wrestling Vlog crew? How is everyone doing? Billy J, the Jabroni, the Cowboy Paul, and the Sarge, Dylan Moon, in the house. How's the feet pick business going for you, referee Billy J?
Going great. I need someone to cut my toenails, but otherwise, we're good.
Yeah. So, hey guys, this is a special edition of the World Wrestling Blog in support of Helping Hands for Cruising. And if you don't know what Helping Hands for Cruising is, I can school you up a little bit here. We're going to play Fat Matt's Helping Hands for Cruising video to kind of give you an idea of what it's all about and what the donations go to. So here we go.
Have you ever dreamt about taking a cruise on one of them fancy boats, soaking up the beauty and the magic just to free your soul? It's floating on the ocean, just a notion that seems out of reach. One thing on your bucket list is just to go and see the beach. You want to see the world, but something always holds you back. You got that itching feeling, but your dreams got hijacked. There's lots of people out there that never get to cruise, but Helping Hands is helping making dreams come true.
Helping Hands for Cruising, cruising. Helping Hands for Cruising, cruising. Helping Hands for Cruising, making your dream a reality.
You know you gotta do the things you've only dreamed about. Don't let anything stop you thinking you can't go all out. You can do the things you never thought were possible with Helping Hands to help you get there. Even oceans are no obstacle. You wanna see the world, but something always holds you back. You got that itching feeling, but your dreams got hijacked. There's lots of people out there that never get to cruise, but Helping Hands is helping making dreams come true.
Helping Hands for Cruising, cruising. Helping Hands for Cruising, cruising. Helping Hands for Cruising, making your dreams a reality.
So if you ever dreamed about taking a cruise in one of them big old boats, soaking up that sun, feel that breeze, yeah, there is still hope. Don't let the ocean be a notion that is out of reach. Let's get together, help each other, and go see the sea. You wanna see the world, but something always holds you back. You've got that itching feeling, but your dreams got hijacked. There's lots of people out there that never get to cruise, but Helping Hands is helping making dreams come true.
Helping Hands for Cruising, cruising. Helping Hands for Cruising, cruising. Helping Hands for Cruising, making your dream a reality. Helping Hands for Cruising, cruising. Helping Hands for Cruising, cruising. Helping Hands for Cruising, making your dream a reality.
So there it is. Yeah. So that last video there, I've been talking to some folks, some fellow creators about how you can help out Helping Hands for Cruising, and that's actually a video a little short that I had done and threw together, and I just sent it over to Sean and Alana, and I was like, "Hey, hang this. This can be content on the Helping Hands for Cruising page." That's another way you can help out. If you can't help out monetarily, but you're a creator, give some content. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, just some stuff for their channel that'll help them reach their monetization goal where they can become self-sustainable would be a big help as well. But yeah, guys, so a lot of stuff going on. Let me get into the chat here. Let's say hi to everyone. We have first. I mean, he's been here. This was from 5 o'clock this afternoon. Our number one fan, Mr. Timmy Ray, the King, in the house. Acknowledge him. Acknowledge him. There's Miss Meg, and that is the link to the PayPal for Helping Hands for Cruising. So you click on that link, and all the dollars are in Australian, mate. So if you donate $20, mate, Aussie dollars, you get a little discount because the American dollar is stronger. Yeah. Right now it is anyway. All right, let's see. Moonlight Adventures. Hey, that's home base there. Thank you for being here, Moonlight Adventures. The most beautiful ring valet in all the land, Miss Chastity Moon from Moonlight Adventures. Welcome in. We've got Jeffrey, the Jamestown Baseball Commissioner. Welcome in, sir. Good to have you. Good to see you. The Clock Family Adventures. That's Mike and his family. Welcome in, sir. Good to have you. Mr. James Cantonese, who is our next recipient of the Helping Hands for Cruising grant, and he'll be sailing with one referee, Billy J.
That's me.
Paul, are you guys going on that one too? Yeah. So
yes,
Paul
sir.
With Miss Meg as well.
Oh,
And,
absolutely.
Yeah. So,
Unfortunately,
Billy, did you say that if we raise $200, you will be giving free access to the OnlyFans page featuring your feet?
no, I did not say that.
Okay. All right. I just checking.
Access denied.
I tell you what, if you can we raise $200 in this hour, I will personally send anyone in here some baby pictures of Bill Jensen.
I got a $200 bill in my pocket right now. Miss Lillian, welcome in. Good to see you. Good to have you. Yeah, you'll hear it from time to time, Lillian. Dylan is joining us from sunny South Korea, and his barracks heater / air conditioner is very loud. That's what you're hearing. Danny D, the super supporter, welcome in. Good to see you. The good thing about that is, though, Dylan is coming stateside here. I mean, he's like a little over 30 days out. So
about 5 weeks.
Yeah, we're pretty fired up about that. He's going to be heading south. Going to be down there close to Captain Billy J. But don't let that scare you, Dylan. Don't let that. Miss Amy from Amethyst Hayes, welcome in. Good to see you. Mr. Blaine, it is not great. Today when we did ours on the Moonlight Adventures, the weird things were the sweet on top of sweet. So like the onions on top of the cookies, those were like sweet pickled onions, and then the ketchup on top of that, man, it was bad. And we've been burping up some nasty. JJ, welcome in. Good to see you. There's Michael and Spoiled Mama. Call Me V on a Griswold raid, and the Juma Brown as well. Welcome in. The Nomadic Rat Pack. Welcome in, guys. Good to see you. Good to have you. Yeah, so, there's evidence now. Blaine got some screens. Oh, that was, I mean, we've ate some nasty stuff doing some of these dares. I thought that the cookies were going to be easy, but not so much. Hey, Crystal, good to see you. All right, so, hey, I know that you got something you want to share with us here. Paul worked hard to get some current events together for us because our head's been spinning here on top of the, feeling a little sick after the nasties that we had to eat earlier today, and then just with the stuff going on with Dustin as well, and trying to figure out, they released pictures today. We didn't see any pictures of him, but we were hoping we'd get to see some.
Well, they all look alike at this point, don't they?
Yeah, they're all just fuzzy heads. Yeah, they're all just fuzzy heads. But just an opportunity to maybe get a glimpse.
Yes, sir.
Is always cool. But nasties. There you go. They're all nasties. But yeah, I mean, I think it's been the most difficult part of that for us has been just being completely empty nested this early in our life. When Dylan left, we missed Dylan. We knew he had it and everything, and we were worried about him, all the normal stuff. but we still had one child in the house, and so like we still have our day to day. We got to get him to school. Dustin's got his things going on to distract us. Now we're just empty. There's just nothing here except for Dylan's turtles and fish and Raphael. He's awesome. That's my favorite turtle. But so hey guys, real quick, Helping Hands for Cruising, donate. They are at, I just got the new tally here from Miss Meg just a second ago, $2,872.42. That's fantastic. And so I am not on the board. So anybody that is on the board can correct me where I may say something wrong here. But the activities coming up in March, taken care of, and thanks to everyone who's contributed to make that happen. You can still donate, and you can put a note in there for OBC, for James Cantonese and his wife Cindy, or for Scott and Amber, because they do still need onboard credit. But anything that goes directly to Helping Hands for Cruising will be applied to the next grant that will happen down the line. And it looks like we're very close to having that next cruise paid for already, and that's a great thing. All right, so before you get into what you have, Paul, there was a ton of botches in the past couple of weeks. Outstanding botches. I don't know if you guys, Botchamania is one of the best wrestling channels on YouTube. And I got a little clip here from Botchamania 467. To me, this was probably the best botch of all of them, especially for the Royal Rumble. It really hurts my heart because I love Bray Wyatt, and I hate that he had to be a part of this. And it wasn't Bray. It's probably Bray's brother. But here we go. Timmy Ray, let me know what you think about this, bud. Well, hang on. Let me get it going.
Oh, it's happening.
Hey, there's Howdy.
The spot. How we do it?
Just a bit outside.
All right.
Low language here.
There's a fire. There's a fire.
So there you go. There you go. You could see it during that match at the end of it. You could tell that he missed it. But those views, he missed it bad.
Yeah.
And it really, because I love LA Knight. Yeah. And I love me some Bray. And I actually enjoyed this match up to that point. But the match could have stood just the way it was. They could have actually just looked over the side with all the puppets, and it would have been fine. But that spot ruined the whole thing.
You could tell from the point of view that they shot it that he missed.
Yeah, that was not good. And that was just one of not even a handful of botches. At least two hands full of botches. The women's Royal Rumble was packed full of them. Wow. Some really bad stuff. I mean, did you see the one? And I don't remember who the young lady was that was kicking Asuka, but she missed Asuka by this far, which could have been an okay spot if Asuka would have done one of those Samoa Joe things where she's just kind of like stepped back and looked at her. But she bumped. I'm like, oh, no. The Kevin Owens botch. Those kind of botches don't bother me as much because that shows some realism. It's like, hey, they messed up. They made a mistake. And they recovered nicely.
Roman kind of saved that.
Yeah. Hey,
they work good together.
Yeah.
I'm more sold on Roman. Well, but Kevin Owens is one of them, and Sammy's like him too. They don't have bad matches.
Yeah.
I mean, Sami Zayn had a match with Johnny Knoxville and made it entertaining. That says a lot.
Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns match, though, was one of the better Roman Reigns matches I've seen.
Well, if you go back before their time in WWE, Kevin and Sammy had outstanding matches against one another. El Generico
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and
That
Kevin.
scaffold match in Ring of Honor with those
Yes,
two
sir.
was one of the best matches I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That's what turned me on to Ring of Honor when I saw that match. And then I started searching for Kevin Steen and Mr. Wrestling, Kevin Steen. Like, oh man, this guy, he looks like me and he can do things that I shouldn't do.
He's athletic.
And he's in
Not
better
saying
shape
you're
now.
not.
I'm not athletic, not anymore. No, Dylan saw the end of my athletic career with his own eyes while I was coaching wrestling. I blew out my ACL and MCL. And I still haven't had it fixed. I taped it up because we were getting ready to go into regions and state, and I just taped it and kept coaching. And yeah, that was pretty much the end.
Yeah.
So let's see, Paul, what you got for us?
Oh, I just come up with a couple quick topics. First of all, I want to answer number one fan Timmy Ray's question, if I may. I don't know the exact year, but I know it's probably been a decade, if not a little more, since Killer Carl passed away. And speaking of passing away, unfortunately, first part of this month, we lost the younger brother to the Macho Man Randy Savage, Lanny Poffo. While not near as famous, quote unquote, as Randy was, if you ever watched his in-ring work, he was at least twice the worker Randy Savage was, as far as technical ability and what have
But
you.
Paul, who had a fan club first, Macho Man or Lanny Poffo?
Probably Lanny, to be honest with you.
Leaping Lanny Poffo had a fan club that followed him years before his brother had one.
I remember when WWF, he would do the poetry before a match on the little frisbee and then chunk the frisbee out into the fans.
Leaping
So,
Lanny Poffo.
I remember
But,
him as the genius.
The Genius.
Yeah.
Yeah, he and he always stayed pretty straight edge.
Yes, sir.
You know, not like his unlike. I mean, I hate to speak ill of the dead, but we all know that Macho Man had his struggles, especially toward the end.
Yes, sir. Definitely had his demons.
Yeah, he did. People, other folks who passed away recently, and I don't think we've been on since. Jay Briscoe of the Briscoes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and leaves a large family. They're by looking at them, you wouldn't know how family oriented they are, but that's a very family oriented family, and they were legit, not what he was, and of course his brother still is, but legit chicken farmers in Delaware, and that's how they support their family along with the wrestling. So, but you can say what you want to about Tony Khan. He flew all the wrestlers that wanted to go to the funeral. He paid for everything. They had recently signed both of them to a new Ring of Honor contract. He's going to honor it for the entire time.
And then McMahon, he let Kevin Owens and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn leave early from Royal Rumble.
And the Viking Raiders too.
Yeah.
Because the Viking Raiders, when they were War Machine in Ring of Honor, they had a ton of great matches with the Briscoes.
Yes, sir.
I thought AEW did a pretty good tribute to him.
Yeah, I'm glad that, and you got to give Tony credit because it had to be Tony that was able to convince TNT and TBS to allow them to do that. Because the reason they didn't do anything on air that on the first show after he passed was because they didn't have permission to do it. So,
I don't know if y'all noticed though, if y'all watched that Dynamite at the end after the match with Jay Lethal, and like the entire locker room came out afterwards. MJF wasn't in the crowd. I don't know if he was playing into his.
He's healing, man.
Yeah, I know, but it's like I kind of figured he'd be out there. I guess he's just really leaning into the heel. But it was like, dang, he didn't even come out for that.
Hey, talk about botches. Somebody who has not botched. That would be MJF, man. You're a botch.
He's tearing it up. It's funny because I'm in a couple like wrestling groups and on Facebook, and a couple of them that are just like centered around AEW, and somebody will post something about MJF, and I'll read the comments, and there'll be people in there griping about he doesn't even wrestle. He never even wrestles. And it's like, that's the point. Like that's what he's doing. He's making people mad.
Good. And if you look, I think Tony Khan is running the same storyline for both the men and the women to a certain extent, but he's doing it with one person. So he's playing up. All the AEW fans hate the evil empire that is WWE.
Yeah.
And so MJF is the epitome of the WWE wrestler that goes and gets the big contract and blah blah blah, and then everybody else is again. That's that. He is the McMahon authority figure of the male division, and then the females, of course, are doing. Wow, hold on one. Look at this.
Wow.
New update on donations. New total of $194.
That's awesome.
Great job, guys. Thank you guys for donating. Thank you. But on the women's side, they've got this thing now and it's terrible. I'm not saying it's good, but that thing they're doing with Tony Storm right now and Saraya is just garbage.
Yeah.
But they're trying to make this, hey, we're AEW, hey, we're old WWE, and fans, how the fans are in AEW, so they're eating it out. And then Ruby's in the middle of it for some reason. I don't get that either. But hey, she got new nose.
I pretty much skipped through the women's division in AEW, and it's not because they're women and it's the women wrestling. It's just I don't know. I watch the stuff with Britt Baker. Her stuff's usually pretty good. Britt and but yeah, the stuff with Tony Storm, it ain't it.
But Tony Storm by herself, I mean, Tony Storm and Jamie Hayter, they put on some good matches.
Oh, yeah.
But, hey, where'd you go, Paul?
I'm here.
Timmy Ray's got another question for you.
Oh, hang on.
From him, and his only question is, whatever happened to his favorite wrestler, Buzz Sawyer? He's probably running.
Mad Dog.
He's probably running from people that he owes money to.
No, I don't think Buzz Sawyer ever ran from anybody in his life. He was in with that Tampa group of guys down there, him and Dirty Dick Slater, and they didn't run from anybody. They would have took on King Kong.
So there's two Sawyers. There's one Sawyer that trained wrestlers and ran off with money.
Yeah, his guy he's talking about was a legit bad butt dude, Buzz Sawyer, and they called him Mad Dog. He's him and Tommy Rich done the last battle of Atlanta that was supposedly lost for. The footage was lost for 30 years, and it showed up on the WWE network. Now, Mad Dog Sawyer, he's been doing something like 20 years, 30 years. I think he died early 90s. But he was a tough man.
Speaking of guys, that were starting their career around the same time you're talking about there, the Great Muta had his final match in Japan.
Yeah. McMahon actually left.
Was sitting in a wheelchair.
Buzz Sawyer died in 1992.
Oh, now that's a legit bad dude right there.
Hacksaw.
I was listening to Jim Cornette, and all I knew of Hacksaw was his WWE and late WCW time where he was
Oh,
really
Lord.
just. But he's talking about when he was in Memphis Mid-South and like all up down the
He
East Coast.
shined.
Oh, they said he was fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Some of the Mid-South guys were as big as Hogan. Literally. Especially in that area. Of course, that was the territory days, too, before everything went national. So,
Well, JYD
Well-
was as big as anybody.
I don't think anybody's ever sold more tickets in New Orleans than JYD did with Mid-South. He could sell out the Superdome.
There's a
Had
lot
3
that say-
wrestling moves, but could sell out the Superdome.
How many of those guys like JYD and several of the Wild Samoans and stuff like that did the McMahons put on contract just so they would not be competition to them anymore? They just buried them
Everybody that would sign with him.
pretty much.
Well, that's you said that you knew Duggan from WWF and WCW, and I was thinking about this the other day. Ted DiBiase, most people know him as the $1 Million Man. That guy was a worldwide star way before the $1 Million Man. He had been in Japan. He had runs with Harley Race and for the Missouri title. Was at one time a contender for the NWA World title. And in Mid-South, he was North American champion. I mean, but
DiBiase never held a title in WWE, did he? Or other than the $1 Million title.
He
held
IRS.
But
Him and IRS held the tag championships.
Yep. And he held the world championship for about a week.
Yeah, okay.
I thought he had
That was when
too for a short period of time.
Andre beat him. Andre beat Hogan, gave the title to DiBiase, and it took him about a week for Jack Tunney to say, yeah, you can't do that. And they vacated the title over it.
So Miss Lillian here, she is talking about the Oregon wrestlers, and Roddy Piper is probably
Yes, sir.
all those. But I tell you, Lillian,
Billy Jack Haynes.
if you can get on Vice Network and Tales from the Territories, they do a great job talking about Portland wrestling. And out of all the territories that shut down, and I didn't know this, but they lasted far longer than almost any of them, except for probably Memphis wrestling.
Piper and Vince had a big falling out over that because when Vince went to run Portland, Piper had a huge problem with that. Don Owens that ran Portland was one of the most well-respected promoters of any of them. And Piper had a huge problem with Vince going up there running in Owens' backyard like that. Because, I mean, Don just, everybody respected him. I guess he never stiffed nobody or nothing. Because everybody that worked for him that I've ever heard interview said they loved the guy.
One of the things I noticed this week, and Cornette has brought this up, and he talked a lot about the way that the filming in that Portland arena looked during those days. It was really tight. It always looked like it was packed, but there's probably only 800 people in there just because it was a tight spot,
Yes, sir.
And AEW this week, where they were at in San Antonio, I believe it was San Antonio where they were at, that looked great. And there probably wasn't 1,000 people in that arena, maybe 1,500. But the sound was good, and it had an old-time feel, boy. It just that MJF match that kicked off Dynamite with him and was it him and Ricky?
Takeshita.
Oh, it was him and Ricky. Takeshita, yeah, boy, that was so good.
I haven't watched Dynamite yet because I've been on this exercise all week, but I'm looking forward to it. But I like a couple months back when Takeshita first came out on AEW, we got on here and you said something about how his name was spelled, Takeshita, and then MJF got on there and he said, "What's your name? Takeshita?" And I was like, I love it. MJF's great. Kind of like when he hired on Roosh to fight Danielson, and he was just like, "Hey, buddy, we speak English here."
No, Hispanol. Yeah, he does not give two rips about anything. He had one. They were in Denver. He said when he was up in the balcony, he's like, "Yeah, I found the one good-looking girl in all of Denver."
Yeah.
Yeah, he draws from so many people from the past.
Yeah,
I love it.
you see Flair. You know, you see
Rick
some
Rude.
Valentine stuff in there. Yeah, you see Rude. But the dude can go. You know, and you see him do things on the mat like a Malenko. You know, I mean, it's incredible. It really is how good he is at such a young age.
Well, he's always talking about the bidding war of 2024, and like if he ends up leaving, I think that'll be the end of AEW, because I think he's pretty much what's carrying. I mean, as much as everybody hates him, when he was gone for those few months, it was rough.
Yeah.
Without MJF being there.
Yeah, I mean, they lost him and Punk. I mean, and that was just, you know, say what you want to about Punk, and Seth Rollins had a lot of bad things to say about Punk here.
Yeah, I saw that.
But,
I saw that.
And it may be true. I know a lot of people have said he's hard to work with. I don't have to work with him. Seeing him in the ring, I know he's good in the ring.
Yeah,
I like his.
I've seen a lot of stuff where he's rough to deal with backstage, which I can see that.
I don't know this JJ that well, but I like her style. Talking about the Von Erichs.
I had that.
We could do a whole show on them.
Yeah, you know, and JJ, I don't know if you know this or not, but they're coming out with a Von Erichs movie, which MJF will be starring.
It's kind of cool. I got to meet Kevin in El Dorado, Arkansas. He was doing a house show there, a spot show, towards the end of his career. And had Chris Adams, Iceman, JYD, you know, just them, I guess, still trying to stay relevant. And then a couple years ago, I met his two sons in El Dorado, the third generation of the Von Erichs.
So take a guess, Paul, at who MJF will be playing in the Von Erichs movie known as Iron Claw.
MJF.
The movie.
Carrie?
That's what you would think, but no.
David?
So Carrie will be played by Zac Efron, which I think he can pull that off. No, they're Lance Von Erich.
He's not even a Von Erich.
I know. The fake cousin. The best wrestler on the face of the planet right now. But no, yeah, I mean, I like Zac Efron. He's shook off all the Disney, and you know,
I mean, have you seen pictures of him shooting?
Oh, he's ripped.
Yeah, he bulked up quite a bit for the movie.
He won me over, and y'all can make fun of him if you want to, in The Greatest Showman. I mean, that movie is great. I don't even like musicals, but I can watch that movie over and over again.
Timmy Ray, that was the. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying it's a lot better than High School Musical.
Timmy Ray, that was the Rock and Roll Express that ran out there and shoved Cornette's face in that cake. And that slap that Bill Watts put on Jim Cornette, that was shoot. He literally took Cornette off his feet with that slap. And Cornette would tell you, yeah, it hurt like hell. Because he was deaf for like half a day after it. Well, he wasn't deaf. He could hear ringing. That's right.
That's what I hear 24/7 is ringing in both ears. Oh man! So Jeffrey Jamestown says that SmackDown was just in Connecticut last night. So hey, Bill.
Speaking of that, last Sunday I went to a WWE house show in Pensacola, Florida. It was the Super Show. Sonya Deville, she got injured during their match. She got cut or something. And then the crowd was not happy because Pensacola is, of course, home to Roman Reigns. And he was not there. And neither was Jey Uso. So the fans were not very happy about that. But Jimmy was there. And Sequoia? What is his name?
Solo Sikoa.
Yeah, he was there. So crowd is happy about that. But I don't know why Roman Reigns wasn't there, but because he was there, he's been there the last couple times.
Yeah.
Billy, at one
Well,
time, Pensacola was a hotbed for wrestling. It was a small promotion in that area, but Arn
Billy
Anderson
moved
wrestled
there.
there. He did. Billy moved into town, killed the territory.
I sure did.
Good business.
Yeah, I keep the reason I'm going off camera is because I'm trying to find results if it's happened yet. Tyrus has his first title defense tonight against Matt Cardona. I'm trying to see how that went.
I doubt Cardona beats him because if you notice, Cardona's wife was in the Rumble and she's supposed to be back, and there's talk that they're trying to sign Cardona.
Cardona was on the Jericho cruise.
Oh, really?
And he won
So was Hexaw.
Yeah,
I saw that, and
there was some kind of title for the cruise that Cardona won.
It looked like Jericho had been hanging out on the Lido deck the whole time.
Yeah, I saw some videos from the cruise. It looks looks like Jericho had a good time.
Jericho looked like he had a whole lot of confetti cream cheesecake.
Yeah.
So JJ has a question, and so this is what I'll do. We'll take this one around the horn. She says, if you could bring back one wrestler to compete in today's wrestling, who would it be? Yeah, that one's tough. For me, there's a lot of them that I like, but one that I would have loved to have seen, and I got to see some of these guys that I really like, but one that I never got to see was Bruiser Brody. I'd like to see some Bruiser Brody. How about you, Billy?
I would like to see The Rock more full-time wrestling because I love The Rock. So that's what
Rock loves you, Billy.
Just watch him on Young Rock. You can get all you want there.
Yeah.
I started watching. It's not bad. It's just, if you don't read too much into it, like if you don't try to go, yeah, that didn't really happen that way or whatever, and you just watch it for what it is, it's okay. But there's a lot of inconsistencies. Dylan, who you got?
I wish I could have watched Stone Cold when he was in his prime.
It was
good. Yeah.
It was good.
But also,
I mean,
I'd like
my dad. Go ahead.
I'd like to see Jeff Hardy back and sober and healthy.
My dad, your pawpaw, he didn't give two craps about professional wrestling until Stone Cold became a thing. And it didn't matter what was going on. Hey, you watching this? They'd holler at me, yeah, I'm watching it. You go in another room. And I mean, when him and Rock were going back and forth over the IC, man, it was so good.
That was good.
The bridge scene was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. Here's you some flippers. Here's you, he throws everything over.
Here's your little pager.
Yeah. That was good stuff. Who you got, Paul?
Oh, y'all make me feel old. I got two. I can't narrow it down to one. That's because there's two matches I want. I want this has never happened because they're from different eras, but I want Danny Hodge or Jack Briscoe in their prime, 100% ready to go against Kurt Angle in his prime and Brock Lesnar in his prime. I know most people say, well, Lesnar's so much stronger, he'll take anybody. That's not true in wrestling because you can overcome strength with technique, a lot of it. People like Briscoe, and they're all four of them are championship amateur wrestlers. So I'd love to see those square off.
If you haven't watched Physical 100 on Netflix yet, what you're talking about, Paul, the wrestlers on that show shine through. It is amazing. It's really cool to watch. I mean, there's some guys on there that look like the Hulk, the second coming of the Hulk, and they get beat because these wrestlers' technique is so much better and their stamina is just amazing. Jeffrey Jamestown says he would love to see Cody Rhodes win the championship. I would too. I go and get my dad's challenge. the McMahon taking off from me.
I got that on the list. Cody won the Rumble.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to happen. I think that's what we're going to see.
I don't.
And by the way, if you haven't seen it, there is a promo of Cody Rhodes. Paul Heyman comes out, and Cody makes Paul Heyman break kayfabe right there in the middle of the ring.
Oh, I've seen that.
Paul actually starts crying.
Yeah.
That's pretty powerful stuff.
Yeah. Well, Paul right now is, I mean, you think about where Paul's at and what he's doing. I mean, and if Cornette was still in the business, he'd be in this same situation, but he's seeing the kids of kids in some instances, you know, second, third generations of these great wrestlers. And, you know, what people don't know about Paul is his connection with the Samoans. And, you know, it's got to be, you know, and that'd be like me if Landon, my grandson, you know, became, I don't know, baseball star and I was his coach or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty amazing stuff. So,
well, Heyman managed two of them in WCW, the Samoan SWAT team, Samu and Fatu.
Yep. Yeah, and he tells a story where he made a promise that he would take care of the future generations and all this kind of stuff. And that, I mean, that's probably not kayfabe, you know, because just because we know how the Samoans and family and all that kind of stuff goes.
Well, name me a family that's, I mean, if you really stop and think about it and do the whole lineage of that family, they're the true wrestling dynasty.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, imagine if the Pacific Wrestling was able to go and stay and do its thing, and if the McMahons hadn't came over and ran roughshod over all the talent. You know, what that could have been with the Samoans and, you know, the way they were traveling and, you know, just the whole nine. I mean, they had the talent. And a lot of that talent that built the WWF back then was, you know, there you could make an argument that probably at least 25 to 30% of that came from the Hawaiian Islands, the Pacific area, you know.
Yes, sir.
And Oregon, you know, I mean, Oregon's part of that because what was it that they always said in the territories? Vince can touch everything up to Oregon, out to Hawaii, or something like that was one of the unwritten rules or something like that for so long. Because
Like I said, him and Piper had a huge falling out over that.
Yeah. Yeah, he sure did. If you've ever watched any of the documentaries on Andre, it's really pretty sad. We always think about disabilities, and everybody has their own. This is an interesting conversation because we're doing Helping Hands for Cruising. But, you know, Andre had a disability himself, and people don't think about it. But, you know, he was able to do things. You know, everybody looked at him like he's big and he's great and all this kind of stuff. But, you know, things like just sitting in a chair and going to the dining room, he couldn't really do it. You know, riding in an airplane, you know, all that stuff was challenging. He suffered because of it. And apparently, Stephanie McMahon and him were best friends. That's what she said.
Yeah.
Her and the Macho Man were best friends at. Oh, never mind.
Ooh. Steady. Yeah, she was a little young too. Yeah, Jericho is still going, and he's had some pretty good matches.
Wrestling.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Wrestling.
He's had some.
Sometimes he'll surprise me.
The match a recent one, him and Ricky Starks was a pretty doggone good match up until the screwy stuff happened, which, I mean, he's a heel, so
yeah,
you can't beat Ricky as hot as he is right now unless you heel out of it.
Yeah.
Meg says, Meg out, and maybe Paul, maybe you know the answer to this. That my dad met him in the airport, had a 20-minute conversation with him, talking about Andre, maybe. Yeah, because she's responded. Yeah, that would be amazing. One of the nicest wrestlers I've met was Kane. I mean, he's really super friendly, and And I don't have long hands, but I have thick hands, and I feel like I have a pretty powerful handshake. He just destroyed my hand. Like, it was like, holy
Well,
crap.
that's what Brock Lesnar said. Kane was the only person who's stronger than him in the locker room.
Yeah.
I saw that the other day somewhere.
Yeah.
You shake hands with Mr. Kane and you go, wow. Yeah, okay. You could jerk my arm off just like that if you wanted to. Mr. Timmy Ray says, he had my dream 2 weeks ago, told Captain Billy J about it. We had a great live stream because his dad, pastor of the Hall of Famer, Ted D. They had, you had Ted DiBiase at your house. Wow. That's amazing. Yeah, that's awesome, Timmy. I hope
He wasn't running from the feds, was he?
Yeah, that's awesome. But you know what? He was at WrestleMania. Not WrestleMania. At the Royal, was it the Royal Rumble or the Royal Rumble? He was at the Rumble, and I think he was at the Go Home show on SmackDown as well. In one of those silly backstage kind of things with JBL, and they're playing poker, and it was really kind of cringeworthy because I think they made some vague, comment about him stealing money. And of course there was a Wyndham there, so that was kind of cool. Or not? Hang on, the Rotunda. It was the Rotunda. Yeah,
Same difference.
Yeah, Wyndham Rotunda.
They're married.
If you're Bray Wyatt, you're both. You're Wyndham Rotunda.
Yeah. That had to be cool growing up.
Oh man, that's, and a little bit of Blackjack Mulligan getting mixed in there too.
Oh yeah.
And that's where Bray gets a lot of his stuff, I think, with Blackjack. I just wish, I don't know, the supernatural stuff, man, that kind of turns me off a little bit. I think he could be just as good without all that stuff. That's just me. I know y'all.
We know the Undertaker kind of passed the torch to him.
Yeah, I saw that.
So
that had to be cool.
I don't think he'll ever be Undertaker though. I mean, he's kind of he's different.
No.
Yeah, but like I think he's different too. It's very
Undertaker. I just know as the phenomenal, supernatural, whatever,
Yeah, and then I like Bray Wyatt a lot, but I don't know. Some of the stuff is a little much for me.
Well, I've always said that there'll never be another Undertaker, and nobody that I know of, and I've thought about it, could have pulled off the Undertaker gimmick the way Mark did.
Yeah.
There's no way.
No, and nobody could have pulled off Paul Bearer like Percy either.
Oh, no.
Yeah, because Brother Love tried. Man, how does Bruce must be able to, he must be a smooth talker. He can find himself a job in the wrestling business.
Well, it's all about experience.
Coco Beware, the Birdman.
Loved him.
Coco Beware. Let's see what else we got in here.
We haven't talked about the big turn yet.
Yeah, bring it on.
Sami Zayn.
Yeah, that was I don't want to say unexpected. They built to it. You could tell something was going to happen. I think the bigger thing for me was the
Usos leaving. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen? Or is this now going to be the opening that we've all wanted to see, where we bring in Jacob Fatu?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really know what they're planning on doing with the Sami Zayn stuff, though. I don't know. From what it seems like is they're going to have, it's going to be Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns at the Elimination Chamber, and Sami Zayn's not going to win, but I think they're setting up Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens against the Usos at WrestleMania. But I think what's going to end up happening is they're going to make people turn on Cody Rhodes because people don't want. I think most people want to see Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns at Mania, not Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. And I think it's going to end up people turning on Cody Rhodes, just like years ago when Batista came back and everybody liked Batista and everything, but he won the Royal Rumble and everybody turned on him because they wanted it to be Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, but Batista didn't have the people. People wanted him back because they wanted to see him come back because he was from the Ruthless Aggression era.
Yeah.
This thing with Cody, though, there's an emotional part of it for people. That match where he came in there with his chest all, I don't know. I mean, you may be right, but the other thing, too, though, the promotional material has Sami Zayn inside an Elimination Chamber. So is he going to be in the Elimination Chamber match? And
technically he's one half of the WWE World Tag Team Champions.
Yeah, because you're right.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they do. I don't know if they may end up making it a triple threat match at WrestleMania, but I've also seen where people are talking about the possibility that they're going to go back to 2 championships, and I've seen where they're saying they might create a new championship for Cody to win at WrestleMania. That way, Sami and Roman can have their thing at WrestleMania. But I don't know if that's true or not. I also seen where apparently they might be allowing Dustin Rhodes to come out with Cody at WrestleMania, be ringside with him. I don't know if he'd be Dustin Rhodes or if he'd be Goldust, but
I don't think Tony will care.
yeah, no, I don't either. It's up to McMahon. Really.
Yeah.
Who is JJ talking about?
I think she's talking about Junkyard Dog.
Oh,
yeah, JYD, the Junkyard Dog. Yeah, he's awesome, and you still to this day see a lot of people giving nods to him and with their pinning combination, and give him the old headbutt. Timmy Ray, yeah, I believe that's going to happen. I think they may let Charlotte actually go over the 16-time barrier. In my opinion.
Well, Rick's actually like a 21-time World Heavyweight Champion, but long story behind that.
There were a lot of drops and putback-ons and
Puerto Rico, a couple in Japan.
Yeah. Yep. We talked about the Usos. What else we got? FTR. So FTR has asked for time off to recuperate and to heal, and their contract is also coming up. But I don't know. I put a lot of state. Obviously, I listen to a lot of Jim Cornette, but he was talking about if you think about how they were treated, not just by WWE but also by Paul Levesque. They were buried by WWE, even by Triple H. So they may not want to go back to WWE.
And they carried NXT.
Yeah, they did. But so what does that mean then? Especially if they don't want to go back to AEW where they're going to get buried by the freaking trampoline cowboys. Do they go to New Japan? Is New Japan going to try to make a run here? Because New Japan has wanted to be the premier wrestling organization in the world for a long time. Is this the opening that they've been looking for? They pick up FTR, who's already their NJPW tag champions.
That do some work for NWA.
I don't know that they'd go down there and work for Billy Corgan, man.
I promise you, Billy would sign them.
Oh, yeah, he'd pay them too. Probably can't pay them the way Tony paying them though.
Oh no.
I don't know if they'll. I mean, I hope they re-sign with AEW, but
Well, let's be honest. WWE don't like tag team wrestling. Vince don't. He hates it.
No. But tag team wrestling is some of the best stories.
Yeah.
The very best stories.
I mean, the stuff going on with the Acclaimed and the Guns is pretty good.
Man, the guns are doing.
I like the Guns. They're good heels.
Oh, you don't know yet. You don't know yet because you hadn't seen. You're going.
Yeah.
Something happened. Something happened on Rampage.
Yeah, I'll watch it today. But I like the Guns. I like the Guns since I started watching AEW.
As long as it's not the Young Bucks, I'll watch.
Yeah, I can't.
Trampoline Cowboys. Ugh.
Yeah.
You know what? They're just so much wrong.
They were in WWE for a little bit.
Yeah, I saw where they were jobbing in WWE.
Yeah, they were.
I mean, they have the build of a jobber.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to love those guys when I saw bits and pieces of them. I had to watch them every week. Not a fan.
Yeah, I get tired of watching the same match.
Yeah. Well, hey guys, we're going to have to close this thing out. We are 5 minutes away from Adventures of Traveling Mike. 3 minutes now, and we're much more over than Mike, so we got to make sure we cut this off. That way, people will go through him.
You thought we couldn't do an hour?
I didn't know if I could. I've been feeling that you guys brought me back. I'm up 100% now. I like Hogan, I'm getting the shakes. Yeah, I'm about to hit a hot tag and keep going. But yeah, so go on over and raid to the Adventures of Traveling Mike and continue to donate. We're trying to get to $5,000 by the end of the night. We're about $800 away from that total. So thank everyone so much for being here. We appreciate you guys. World Wrestling Vlog, we are out.